Welcome and good morning, everyone, once more, and welcome to today's Workday Finance session. Before we begin, please bear in mind that this presentation does not cover all features that are going to be released, and there are quite many features this time for the Workday Finance. So if you want to get more information about the features which will not be covered today, please refer to Workday community pages or don't hesitate to contact me or my colleagues. So my name is Laura Liepa and I'm Finance Solution Consultant. I'm coming from finance background. I have more than 15 years experience in finance in different financial roles and positions, and in different size of companies. But about a year ago, I decided to change my career path, and now I'm helping our customers in their financial needs when it comes to Workday. I have Workday Finance Contracts to Cash certification, Banking and Settlement certification, as well as Workday Adaptive Insights Platform certification. Before we begin, I would like to highlight some webinar practicalities. I mean to just cover those, but still maybe really quick. Feel free to ask questions via chat. If we will have time, we will take those questions up at the end of the presentation. If not, you will get your answer via email. This session will be recorded, and the presentation material should be available for you for the download. This is Workday's Safe Harbor statement. I assume you have seen this statement already several times yesterday, but still it also applies for this presentation, so please take a moment to look into it. This is our agenda for today. I have highlighted 5 new features, which I will cover in more details, and those will be expenses paid with corporate cards, journal and anomaly reasons, enable revise for customer deposits, project planner, and ad hoc invoice lines on customer invoice proposals. But since there are quite many new features for the financial management, I will try to cover in short all other features, and I have divided those under 5 different topics: banking and settlement, expenses, customer and supplier accounts, projects, and common financial management. And then the last topic on our agenda for today is roadmaps. Okay, we have come to the first topic on our agenda, and that is expenses paid with corporate cards. Workday continues to enhance how you submit expense reports by now enabling you to indicate expenses paid with corporate cards. And this enables the paid with corporate card checkbox on expense report lines. And it ensures that expenses paid with corporate cards are not submitted as reimbursable expenses. And overall, this streamlines the expense report creation process and reduces duplicate expenses. This feature initially is released as an opt-in feature. So if you want to use it, you need to go to Maintain Features Opt-in Report and select Opt-in this feature. In practice, it looks like this. I have here Maintain Feature Opt-ins Report. And on this report, you need to find this Enable Paid with Corporate Card and Expense Reports feature name. And the only thing you need to do is just click on this button Opt-in feature, and you will get this feature working for you. Okay, let's now go to the tenant and check how it looks like in real life. I have logged in here as Brandon Harris. Brandon is regional sales manager, and let's try to create an expense report. Say OK here. And now when we are on expense lines, let's try to create a new expense report. Let's start with quick expenses. Let's take whatever expense we have here. Okay. So what has changed is that now there's new field paid with corporate card checkbox. This field will be visible only for those employees who has active corporate card or who has credit card transactions assigned to them. And also this checkbox is displayed also for expense reports created from quick expenses, travel booking records, and manual expenses. And this checkbox is always automatically checked in. But there are certain types of expenses for which this checkbox will be automatically unselected. And those are per diem expenses, travel journals, and allowance plans. And let me demonstrate you that. Let's choose here an expense item, something per diem related. And you can see what happened. This checkbox was automatically unselected. Then if you noticed when we started to create this expense report, we got an error message. Let's check what that says. So basically this error is coming from this new corporate card checkbox field. And there are two options how we can avoid this error. First option is manually unselect this corporate card checkbox. And by doing this, we are saying that this particular expense report is not connected to the corporate card, and this is out-of-pocket expense. But if this expense is should be linked to the corporate card, it is related to the corporate card, then we need to link it to the corresponding corporate card transaction. And let me show you that how that happens. So the first option is let's get back here this previous expense item, car rental and fuel. And so the first option is that we just manually unselect it by saying that this is out-of-pocket expense. Let's go out of the expense lines and come back. And you see that the error disappeared. But if this expense report should be linked to the corresponding corporate card transaction, then actually we should start everything from scratch. And let's do that. Let's delete this line. And when we create the expense report, we need to start it already by creating expense report from credit card transactions. So let's take that. Let's choose any of the available credit card transactions. Click OK. And now we can fill all the necessary fields. And in this case, this particular expense report will be linked to the corresponding corporate card transaction. Let's go back to the presentation. So additionally additional to the field which you already saw, this corporate card checkbox, there are two new columns added on expense report work area report, and those are has corporate card and last 4 digits of the credit card number. Additional considerations about this feature. So as already described before, you must opt into this feature if you want to use it. And this feature is a part of multi-feature initiative in order to improve expense submitter experience. And when any related enhancements to this feature will be delivered in a future release, you won't need to opt into it since this will be automatically enabled for all expense customers. So summary about this feature, there is now new paid with corporate card checkbox on expense report lines, and there are 2 new fields on expense report work area report. So if you want to use it, you must opt into it. And if you choose to do nothing, just corporate card owners won't see this new paid with corporate card checkbox on their expense report lines, and they might continue to submit incorrect or duplicate expenses by not linking their receipts to the corporate card transactions. Okay, then second topic on our agenda is journal line anomaly reasons. With this release, WD continues to improve and enhance journal insights functionality by providing more context and clarity why system flag a journal line as an anomaly. Currently, it is often difficult to determine the reason why you get some certain journal lines for your approval and review from Journal Insights. And in order to address that issue, Workday now created a separate field called Journal Line Anomaly Reasons, which will be present on each anomaly when possible. And in this new field, you will get primary reason why Journal Insight believes that the line is anomalous compared to your historical data. And also with this feature, system now is able to identify reasons related to much broader set of potentially incorrect work tags, line companies, ledger accounts, custom work tags, and custom organizations used on your journal lines. This feature is automatically available as long as you have Journal Insights currently enabled in your tenant. If you don't have, but you would like to, then please note that this is part of the innovation services. So please contact then your customer success manager to sign the innovation services agreement. So what's new in this for this feature is that there is now new field on Journal Insights report called anomaly reasons. And in this field, you can filter anomalies by different reasons, as already described before: wrongly used general ledger accounts, wrongly used work tags, etc. And then once we get into a detailed view of each and every anomaly, then there's now additional field anomaly reason added for each anomaly. So in this particular example, for general ledger account cash, we can see that Journal Insights believe that 3 lines are anomalous, and we can see that for 2 of those lines, system think that region has been chosen wrongly, and for 1 line that is bank account. There's one consideration about this feature. This journal anomaly reason will be populated only for those journal line anomalies which are created after this feature moves to production. For anomalies which are created before, this anomaly reason field will stay blank. In summary about this feature, there's now new field, journal line anomaly reason for Journal Insights, and this feature is automatically available. Okay, then the next feature is enable revise for customer deposits. With this update, Workday streamlines the review process for customer deposits by enabling reviewers to edit and change a deposit what's in review. Currently, reviewer can only approve or deny customer deposit, but there are situations when reviewers should add some real-time changes to the deposit or add some additional information. So instead of sending this deposit back to the initiator by asking to add some additional information or to do some changes, reviewer can do those changes now by himself. And there's no configuration needed as this feature is automatically available. So let's jump to the tenant and let's see how that looks in real life. I will now sign in as Teresa Serrano. She is controller. And in her inbox, we have a customer deposit, which has come to her for her review. So what we can see here is that additionally to the approve and deny buttons, the fields like bank account, payment deposit date, and deposit reference now are editable. So before she approves this particular customer deposit, she can actually go and change, for example, bank account, change the deposit date, or add some reference. And then she can approve it. There is one really important consideration about this feature. If your organization doesn't allow reviewers to edit a customer deposit during the review step, you must change the existing review step to an approval step in your existing customer deposit event business process definition. So since this feature is automatically available, then also if you have on your business process definition the action step to review customer deposit, then it automatically means that the reviewer will be able to edit this customer deposit before the approval. So here I have an example. I have this business process definition, and I have here this action review customer deposit. And if for some reason you do not want that the reviewer can edit this customer deposit before approval, you must change this action step to the approval step. And by doing this, then you will ensure that this edit functionality will be removed. In summary about this feature, so reviewer can now edit a customer deposit, and this feature is automatically available. Okay, the next feature on our agenda is Project Planner. With this release, Workday continues to enhance Project Planner by now supporting multi-level project plans, showcasing forecasted versus actual project hours, as well as the ability to export your project plan directly to the Excel. About the configuration, if you already use Project Planner, there's no additional configuration needed. This feature will be automatically available for you. But if you want to start using Project Planner, then you need to replace Project Plan with Project Planner in Configure Profile Group task. Okay, let's go back to the tenant and check this in live. I will open a project here. And I go to the Project Plan tab. So what we can see here currently is normal project plan with phases. So here we have 6 different phases and then tasks under each phase. But let's assume that we would like to make this project plan more granular and add some subphases under the phases and add some tasks for those subphases. And now that is possible. So let's do that together. So what I'm doing, I'm highlighting this first phase here, and I can click Add Subphase. And let's take something here, for example, business planning. And then for this subphase, we can also add some tasks. Like this. So what we can see now is more granular way of the project plan with phases and subphases, etc. And at this point, if we would like to, we could even add a subphase under the subphase. Let's try to do that as well. Just choose this. And now you can see that we have phase 1. Under that, we have subphase 1.1. And under that, we even have the subphase under the subphase 1.1.1. What else is new here is that now there's new columns added for the project hours. There are estimated hours, actually worked hours, and hours remaining. You can click on those hours and drill into the details so you can see where those hours are coming from. And also there's now possibility to export this project plan directly to the Excel. So we got the Excel here. Additional considerations about this feature. Export to the Microsoft project are not supported for multi-level project plans. Also, the copy project plan checkbox is disabled for the multi-level project plans. And as well, the project plan template web service is not supported for the multi-level project plans. When it comes to the actual plans, when you have created plan with phases and subphases, then if there are no transactions on the project plan phase, you will be able to delete this phase. And also on Workday also automatically will delete all the child phases and tasks under that phase. And at this point, you can still revert back to a standard project plan. If there are already some transactions booked on the project plan phase, you won't be able to delete this phase. However, you'll still be able to delete other project plan tasks and phases that have no transactions yet booked. And also at this point, it will not be possible to revert back to a standard project plan. So summary about this feature, Workday now supports multi-level project plans, and this feature is automatically available. And then the last feature, which we'll cover in more details, is ad hoc invoice lines on customer invoice proposals. You can now create ad hoc invoice lines on customer invoice proposals, and this helps to improve the user experience by enabling you to make lump sum adjustments at the time of invoicing. There is also no configuration needed as this feature is automatically available. And let's check how that looks in real life. I will find customer invoice proposal. Let's take this first one and let's click edit. Let's go on invoice lines. So what we can see here is that there are 3 lines coming from customer invoice proposal, and there's not much we can do about those lines. The only thing we can change is line item description. But what we can do here, we can add additional line. It's added, and now this is this new ad hoc invoice line. Let's add some information there. Let's say that this will be fixed price, fixed fee services, and let's add some extended amount. Let's say $5,000. So when you have added all the information needed for this line, there's one thing you must do always. You need to click this submit and refresh button in order to get this newly created ad hoc line into the invoice. Let's do that. Refresh. And now we can see that in the total invoice amount, we can see that it was increased by our $5,000. Let's check the invoice itself. Let's go to the invoice lines. And here we can see that we have those 3 invoice lines coming from the customer invoice proposal. And then we have also our newly created ad hoc line for $5,000. We can still edit this invoice proposal at this moment. Let's click edit. Let's go to the invoice lines. And we can edit all the fields still for this line. And we can also at this point still delete this line. Let's do that. Again, when we do any changes for this ad hoc invoice line, we always need to click on this submit and refresh button in order to apply those changes for the invoice proposal. Refresh. And now we can see that we are back on the original invoice amount. Some additional considerations about this feature. In order to create this ad hoc invoice line on customer invoice proposal, you must have a project role or a company role that matches with the company on the project. Then when you add this ad hoc invoice line, this line must have a revenue treatment of invoice. This line also won't consume any prepaid installments. And you can select only non-deferred customer contract lines, and you can select only those projects that are already included in the customer invoice proposal. And you always must refresh this customer invoice proposal when you add a new line, remove a new line, or when you change existing line that impact the total invoice amount. So this is about this button, which I just show you, submit and refresh. So what is changing? There's now possibility to create ad hoc invoice lines on customer invoice proposals. And this feature is automatically available. Okay, now we have come to the second big topic on our agenda, and those are other features. For banking and settlement, there are 4 new features. WD improves the security of scheduled settlement runs by now enabling authorized users to schedule and view settlement runs without needing access to additional financial tasks. So basically, WD delivers a new process, schedule settlement run domain, which is secured to the banking and settlement functional area. And with this new domain, the scheduled runs are contextually secured, and you can only view scheduled runs when you have access to all settlement run filters in that scheduled instance. Then Workday delivers also a new treasury discovery board for cash management. This is a centralized place to review cash positions and cash forecasts, giving you visibility into your cash balance and treasury operations so that you can review and take necessary actions. Also, Workday now enables you to define accounting cash and accounting cash pools, using cash ledger accounts or ledger summaries to support cash balance check on claim on cash processes. And you can define overage options at the balancing work tag or account cash pool level to ensure a sufficient cash balance is available for settlement and reporting. And with advanced cash balance check feature, Workday now provides more flexibility in your cash balance check configuration options and streamlines the cash balance check exception processes. And the main benefit of this feature is to prevent a single payment from holding up the entire settlement by assessing cash balance check on a payment-by-payment basis. Then additionally to already presented corporate card checkbox feature, there are 3 very good features for expenses. The first one, expense report routing for workers with multiple positions. So what this feature means is that workers who hold several positions now, when creating an expense report, can choose position to which this particular expense report applies to. So, and also those expense reports now are routed for approval based on the worker position. So it ensures that the correct person gets correct expense reports for the approval. Also, based on selected worker position on expense report, some fields like company, cost center, location, etc., are automatically populated in. And with this, reducing manual effort and improving data quality for the expense reports. Please note that this feature also is initially released as an opt-in feature. So if you want to use it, please opt in for it. And if you do nothing, you just won't have the ability to select specific positions on expense reports when workers have multiple active positions. However, the plan is to make this feature automatically available in the next release. Then the next one is Expense Protect service in business processes. This feature is about machine learning, and it ensures that Expense Protect assesses and returns a risk score for each expense report. And based on this risk score results, the expense report then moves to the next step. And you can configure those steps. For example, you can configure to skip an approval step if it's a low risk, or require additional approvals if it's a high risk expense report. And this helps to save time and reduce manual effort for expense partners. And please note, if you want to use this feature, then this is part of the innovation services. And then the last one is distance calculation for expenses as an innovation service. This enables Workday to use Google Maps to retrieve routes based on the origin and destination addresses you enter on expense reports and spend authorizations. Workday uses the default route that Google Maps provides to calculate values based on the configured reimbursement rates, helping you to improve compliance and reimburse expenses more accurately. Also, this is part of the innovation services. If you do nothing, you just won't have the ability to configure expense items that include attributes that integrate with Google Maps. But if you opt in for this feature, but you don't configure expense items to use those attributes that integrate with Google Maps, then payees just won't benefit from the automatic calculation of distances for their mileage expenses. Then additional features for customer and supplier accounts. You can now scan supplier invoices using OCR scanning and machine learning. And when you scan supplier invoices, the system automatically converts those invoice images into draft invoices in Workday. And this improves invoice cycle time. And again, this is part of the innovation service. Then with this release, Workday expands supplier invoice automation for Workday recommendations. Workday now provides machine learning predictions for cost center, location, and region on supplier invoice lines. And also this is part of the innovation service. And then revenue management and project billing security. With this, Workday provides you with greater flexibility and control over who can access and perform actions on securable items. Then still for customer and supplier accounts, with this release, Workday also continues to enhance electronic invoice integration by simplifying how you add fields that Workday don't automatically include in the integration templates. And this reduces cost and manual effort, as well as helps you to support local invoicing requirements. Then Workday also continues to improve how you email and print your customer invoices by now delivering a high volume grid that can support up to 10,000 customer invoices. And then also Workday now enables you to apply a customer credit invoice adjustment to one or more different customers, giving you increased flexibility and control in how you apply adjustments. Then for projects, there are 3 more features additionally to the project planner improvements. With this release, Workday improves project labor cost summarization for intercompany projects. You can now reference and recover from the worker company, in addition to the project company, for standard and fully burdened project labor costs. And this feature improves how you match your project labor costs with the revenue, streamlining the accounting for intercompany projects. And then with this release, you can also now hide some optional fields on the project summary, giving you more flexibility and improving your user experience. And then capital project asset quantities. This feature, unfortunately, is delayed. It is not yet available for the preview, but still intended production date is standard date of this release. But the idea of this feature is that you can assign quantities to project assets, and this will eliminate the need for manual workarounds when you capitalize project transactions against multiple project assets of the same type. And then quite long list of new features for common financial management. Workday now includes allocation pools and allocation pool hierarchies as organization and accounting work tags, helping you to comply with legislative rules. But there's one really important consideration about this feature. Workday recommends that you only use the allocation pool organization if you intend to implement the entire allocation pool feature that will be delivered in the later release. Because you will need to update all existing work tags with additional information when the location pool feature will be fully available. And please refer to community pages for more information if you are interested about this feature. Then Workday now includes also appropriation and appropriation hierarchies as organization and accounting work tags, and this enables you to manage and report on appropriations, helping you comply with rules defining your budget authority. Then Workday continues to improve how you export high-volume journal lines, and with this release, Workday also redesigns business asset reporting functionality. It streamlines the general ledger reconciliation process by now enabling you to report on asset accumulated depreciation details, cost details, depreciation lines, and journal lines. And the next two features is about awards. Workday now enables to route award correction for review and approval. And this improves the award process and eliminates the need to create a new award version when you make just minor changes. So as a reviewer, you can approve, deny, or also now edit and send back an award correction to the award initiator. And as an initiator, you can revise the correction when it's sent back to you and resubmit it to the reviewer. And also now you can use the new correction reasons in your business process condition rules to determine whether or not this award correction should be routed for approval to the reviewer. Then custom validations on awards. This feature is about building validations on awards and building them more easily. For example, you can now create a custom validation to issue an error when the dates on award lines are left blank, or issue a warning when the user enters an invalid sponsor for the award company. There are some setup required for this feature, but if you choose to do nothing, you just won't be able to enforce organization-specific requirements on award fields and award roles. Then in previous release, if you remember, one of the biggest features were Office Connect availability for financial management. Office Connect is an Excel add-in with a direct data access to your Workday data. So you can utilize all the Excel functionalities, but with the online data from the Workday. And now with this feature, Workday continues to improve this feature. And now you are able to report on plans that are loaded into Workday and compare them with actuals or other plans. And the last one, Workday now enables you to migrate an asset to a secondary asset book with beginning cost balances. And this eliminates the need for separate cost adjustments when you add an asset book to an asset, streamlining multi-book asset accounting. Okay, and then the last big section on our agenda is roadmaps. There are several roadmaps for the financial management because the financial management is divided in several smaller parts. So this is a roadmap for the banking and settlement. And the main investment themes are experience, efficiency, and agility. If I need to highlight something from the future plans, then it would be multi-currency bank accounts. This feature would enable you to create multiple bank accounts using the same account number and account identifiers, but with unique currencies. So this could be a really useful feature. And then also Workday continues to improve improvement on cash forecasting. Currently, Workday provides a worksheet-based cash forecasting tool where users can easily define the cash forecast structure and use Workday operational data. But in addition to data automation, users can also collaborate with each other and create short-term or long-term forecasting But currently this process is centralized and it is company-wide. So one of the future plan enhancements is to decentralize the forecasting process, where users can easily split those forecasting worksheets by company, bank account, or data sources, and at the end consolidate all those worksheets into one company-wide forecast. And other enhancements for the cash forecasting is scenario-based modeling and machine learning guided forecasting. Then this is roadmap for Accounting Center. Maybe a few words what Accounting Center is. So basically, it is a data store which brings together external business events such as claims, policies, and transactions from different external systems, and then combines those transactions together with financial statements. In Accounting Center, these external business events go through ingestion process and generate detailed accounting, which then gets summarized and posted to the general ledger. What is really important that all through transaction lifecycle, audit is always on, and there is data lineage between the source transaction and what gets summarized into the general ledger. So all the details follow the transaction, and at the end, you are able to drill down from that summarized amount of the financial statement into the details which actually originated from the external system on all that within the same platform. So taking this into our mind, all features planned for the Accounting Center roadmap is about to provide you better insight into your transactions, better automation, and by using artificial intelligence and machine learning to provide you better decision-making process. Then this is roadmap for core financials. The main highlight for this roadmap is zero-day close vision. It is a vision to move accounting department from transactional to strategic with complete automation of the close process. And with this to provide you more time to focus on more strategic initiatives and actions. The aim is to provide a real-time continuous business insights and to surface exceptions continuously so that finance can take action immediately instead of waiting at the end of the period. Then expenses. I believe that this release is exceptionally good for the expenses. There are improvements on corporate cardholder experience. There are map-based distance calculation, secondary position approvals, and also intelligent approvals for expense reports based on the risk. But still, if I need to highlight something for the future, then I believe updated mobile experience is a very good feature, which will come up in later releases, which will reduce manual steps. And then also there's continuous improvement on receipt scanning process. With this release, Japanese language will be released, but there are still plans for additional languages and additional fields. Then this is roadmap for projects, but highlight from my side would be different improvements and enhancements on resource forecast. We all know that having the right stuff at the right time is really an essential part of each project. So also Bode has future plans for this topic. And then comes the roadmap for the revenue. Here I have highlighted contract modification feature. This is planned as quite big enhancement, but the first step would be automate billing and revenue adjustments in the customer contract cancellation process. And this will improve experience by allowing users to cancel customer contracts which should no longer have the billing or revenue activity. And for supply accounts, we can expect discovery board in near future. Okay, we are at the end of the finance presentation. Thank you for joining. I hope that this was interesting and useful for you. But before you go, please don't hesitate to contact me or my colleagues if you have any further questions. Also, please fill in a really short 4-question survey about my presentation. I will highly value your feedback.